Three, two, one. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the SPPD Procast, brought to you by Glanzer and Abiogenesis. Today we have SDNW and Drewzy joining us. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, doing awesome.
Drewzy, this is your first time on the podcast. Glad to have you here.
Yeah,
we'll talk about the reason you're here a little bit later.
I'm nervous. Don't. I think I need to leave.
You got this.
It's all right. We just have some gummy bear surprise.
Relax, bitch.
Where's it at?
All right, we're gonna jump right into it and just start talking about some of the changes that are coming down the pipe and some changes that have already happened. First off, Hanky, we know for a fact that his base stats are gonna be 98 and 98, which is very close to Inuit. Inuit has like 102 attack to start and a little bit less health, so it's just a little bit different dynamic there. We don't know if the charge ability is going to be changed at all or anything, or the ability is going to be changed at all. We talked about this on the last one. SDNW, you're definitely putting him in your deck?
Not anymore. Not that now that I know he's 98, I'm not going to do it because he's not going to reach the pivotal, 252 damage mark, which one-shots Choir Boy and Hermes at level 5, so it's not enough for me.
Do we know what his level 3 stats are? Because I mean, that's probably where it's most relevant, right?
Yeah,
Most likely.
if it's not the same base starting stats as Incan, if Incan did start at 102 like you're saying,
You mean?
or I mean not Inuit, excuse me.
Yeah.
Then yeah, he's not going to reach or he likely, I guess, won't if the scaling is the same, I guess.
Yeah,
He could be
reach the same.
He could be probably close to where Butters and Kenny are, though, right? Like Hermes Butters or Hermes Kenny and Choir Boy Butters.
Yeah, it'll be close, but Inuit reaches 352 at max level 3.
Right
which
on,
is,
yeah.
Which is the HP for Choir Boy and Hermes.
level 5.
Yeah, level 5. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that'd be a big. I mean, he'd level 3 Hanky probably still be fine if you're running against level 4 epics. But yeah, once you get to those level 5s.
Anywhere else in the ladder. This is just me talking about like trying to like hold top 25 with it. So it just doesn't
What about you, Abio? Are you gonna make some fun decks with some charge abilities and Hanky?
No, I mean I've only got level 1 Hanky.
Yeah, same.
I'm like one out of, yeah. So yeah, I'm not anywhere close to making him playable, and I don't think his ability is still going to be good enough.
Yeah, my first Hanky was like 2 weeks ago, so I'm definitely new to the Hanky game. What about you, Drewzy? You gonna make some sick challenge decks with Hanky in them?
Well, first off, I'm never making a challenge deck ever again. We'll talk about that later. Second off, I have Hanky to level 2, but honestly, and I've said this multiple times, that they need to make Hanky's charge ability 30 seconds to 20, similar to, I mean, if Youth Pastor Craig has a 30-second duration, why does a legendary card not have the equal amount of duration?
What is the current duration?
It's 20 seconds, I believe.
20 seconds?
The reason for that is because a lot of charges are just over 10 seconds, and you don't want it to be putting out double charges. Like, you don't want to stand many moons to be able to put out, twice as many charges. It's good for a little bit, but it would just, I think it would be pushing it OP if you went any longer.
Which I get, but at the same time, it seems like the focus lately from Red Links has been epics and legendaries rule the day. So we have a rare card that at least has a charge ability that has a longer duration. I mean, maybe 25 seconds then rather than 30, but I mean, just the base stats, I don't think are going to be enough to put Hanky over the edge to make him like a viable card within the meta structure. But at least you might see some play of him, or some people screw around with him to see that if he's actually worth the effort. But I don't know many people that have very high Hankies anyways, except for the heavy spenders. So it'll be interesting to see if it even comes into play much at all.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to see more on my alt account than on my main account.
I think there will be a lot of people with him around level 3 because I bought one of those packs because I only needed one more. So I bought one of those packs that was like, 1,000 cash or whatever for a 50% chance at him, and I got him, and I was like, good, done, level 3, perfect.
Nice.
So
if I had him at level 2 or level 3, I would consider using him, especially like if it was on a weekend event. I was already deranking anyway. Like, it'd be fun to just build Hanky decks and yeah.
Yeah, definitely fun would be the word for a Hanky deck. Absolutely.
I still think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be be useful with sci-fi decks, especially with like Witch Doctor Token and Stand Many Moons in the sci-fi decks, because he's gonna tear shit up with Osmo and Program Stan and Mecha Timmy. Like Mecha Timmy, I feel like his cooldown is so short anyways that.
Speaking of Mecha Timmy, do we know what the change to him's gonna be yet?
He's getting a range.
It's got to be range reduction.
It's
And
so good.
he's gonna be faster too.
Yeah, more movement.
So good.
Yeah, that's good.
So good.
So I imagine his range would be. That's actually the next topic. We can just go, or actually that's later, but we can jump right into that because it works better. Mecha, I imagine it would be similar to maybe pirate ship's range, probably.
Yeah.
Or pirate ship to me.
Pirate ship's range is pretty long.
Probably right in between catapult and pirate ship.
Yeah, I imagine the goal was to just stop it from being able to grab somebody behind the enemy new kid, you know?
Yeah,
so
that was cancer. That was terrible.
So that'll be nice. He'll get a little bit quicker, and he'll get to the other side. So I mean, it'll be it's iffy because the speed will help you get to a point where you can use the ability, but then also the speed gets you to the other side. So you have to focus more on protecting him instead of just easily him sitting behind your line until he gets removed.
I'm really, really fingers crossed hardcore on, like, all my fingers and all my toes crossed for this shit. But what if he gets the same speed as Pirate Ship Timmy? How fantastic would that be?
Well, so wait, are you saying that his ability is going to have a range to it now?
Yep.
Yes, that's the change. That's part of the change.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Oh, thank God.
I know, right?
It's not his attack range. It's not his base attack range. It's
not his range.
Oh, okay.
I imagine they won't touch his stats at all, other than everything else.
Okay.
And if they do anything, they might give him more health because they're assholes.
I mean, I think his
stats is double shot.
His stats are fine, honestly.
Yeah.
And especially if they're going to keep his attack range and the knockback, like he'll at least still be fairly easy to defend. He just won't be so like you said, you can't just play him behind the new kid and then have him like slow roll up and then gives you plenty of time to regen all that energy. And it just makes him super easy to defend when you combine it with everything else. The short duration on his charge, the unlimited range on his charge, like all that stuff just adds up to him being like the easiest unit in the entire game to defend.
I've had full matches where he sat behind the enemy new kid the entire freaking match because once you're like up there, there's no getting him out of from behind.
Yeah, I had somebody yesterday who used 2 Dwarf Kings on 1 mecha, and he still didn't die. He survived through the entire cycle of the guy's deck and still survived afterwards.
That's how I feel with level 3 Medusa Bebe, man. Like she's like I've had her take Lightning Bolt plus New Kid Blast, and then I just like Hallelujah, and she's like back to full, and then my opponent just quits the game.
Yeah, she's got way too much health.
My favorite strat: lead with Medusa, let her die, pope Medusa, drop Zen in front of her, and pop the
enemy moves behind him.
Pop Ninju, and then it's just like, what you gonna do now?
Yeah. I'm 1 copy away from level 3 Ninju, and I can't wait.
Nice.
I'll never play you again if I ever come up against you. Then if those are the 2 cards you're gonna be rocking.
All right. So with the mecha changes, also the other word we have for changes is the Dougie changes. We don't have exactly any idea what changes are gonna be, but we can speculate a little bit. What do you guys think the changes will probably be?
Damage buff. Easy, hands down. No way to deny it. It's got to be a damage buff. With the buffs to the new kid HP pool, Dougies just do not do enough damage like they used to do. There's no threat there. I was saying earlier, I can let a level 5 barrel Dougie roll up to my level 22 new kid, and he will not take a bar on his own. I can just ignore him and just be like, whatever, peace.
So do they does a level 6 or a level 4 assassin one shot a Dougie?
Yes,
if at equal level? Do you think they would possibly increase the health to prevent such easy counters?
Level 6 and level 4, level 6, 5, and 4 assassins will one shot a level 5 Dougie. I don't know about a level 6 Dougie, but
because I know
for sure
I usually just Aerostorm Dougies, which I feel is a little
Nah, that's
unfair.
a fair enough trade. That's a fair enough trade.
It's a
I've unholy combusted Dougies many times.
That's true. It's really situational sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
So just every Dougie across the board, just extra damage. Would they have to adjust it because some of the Dougies have more damage, like the power or not power, the barrel Dougie and shit?
I don't think so. I think barrel Dougies. Maybe they'll buff barrel Dougie's ability damage, but I think that would just be kind of like unfair to the other ones. I think it's just gonna be a base damage increase and possibly a base health increase.
I think I agree with you there.
What if they made them like trigger a little bit faster for their first initial swing? And because like most of the Dougies, like it takes them about.
I would hate that.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, they already double attack sometimes anyway.
Well, I mean, the only times Dougies are really oppressive though is when you combine them with something like Drow Elves or Paladin Butters, right? Like that's when they're just kind of really oppressive. For the most part, like if they don't have them combined with something like that or freeze ray or just some way to stop you, like they're super easy to take care of. Like they're literally no threat. And like you said, right now you can just let them hit you. So even if they buffed them a little bit, like unless they made it to where now the Dougie takes more than one hit from like the typical assassin, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
Right. Yeah. And that would be a pretty big health increase if they were to start surviving a equal level assassin, I think.
But I mean, I guess if you could make it to where they take off enough health, you could at least use it as kind of like get that last little bit of a bar kind of a play, Right now it's not even reliably that. Like even if your combo goes off, like SDNW said, you can take 1 or 2 hits from a Dougie depending on where you are in health.
Right.
Even at level 20, I've taken 2 hits from a level 5 and I have like 50 health left, but still that's 2 hits from a level 5 Dougie that whatever.
I don't want him going back to one-shotting bars at level 6 though. I think that's kind of overpowered because I remember before the new kid health buff, Roxo had the level 6 barrel Dougie, and I was like a level 21 new kid, and he dropped me to 7 HP, I think it was, in just the one hit of his ability and 1 auto attack. And it was absurd because there was like almost no counterplay to it because he would live the assassin attacks. You couldn't stop him with an assassin. He was going to get that fucking ability off no matter what. And it just was like, there you go. There's a bar. Cool.
Yeah.
On to the next bar.
Like I said, there are combos where if you don't have something like Unholy Combustion or Transmogrify, like that Dougie is going to get an attack in no matter what you do.
Oh yeah, the first time somebody lays Kyle and then a Dougie, I lightning bolt the Kyle every time I see that little bitch.
Fair enough.
But the Paladin Dougies, man, like that's almost impossible to stop if they time it right. Like it really.
You have to have Unholy Combustion or Transmogrify.
Yeah, to do through the shield. It's ridiculous. All right, that's a great segue though, bringing up Roxo, because we could talk about level 25 hype. Roxo and David both made it.
It's nuts, man. I
what's
can't
the next step?
I don't know. I can't even think about it. Like, I'm actually going to be really upset if at the end of the year they decide to just say, okay, now commons can go to level 8, rare, everything can go to level 8, and just make it to where you need more copies. Like,
man, that'd be. Well, can you still collect copies after you get them to 7?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then maybe they will do that.
I think it's inevitable. I think every game that I've ever played mobile like this happens where they just add another level to what and it just gives you more to grind, more to spend money on, and it's just ad infinitum.
I think if they were smart, they would go with a new theme, and because that I can't speak for Roxo, but David, I know for sure, Pauline, for anyone who doesn't know who he is on the ladder, I know for sure he would go like off just spending to get the new theme all the way up.
I could only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, make the new theme just awesome. Every part of
like
it.
Heroes. It'd have to be heroes or something that'd be big enough scale wise that you could add enough cards to make it worth the effort for someone that's a multi-$1,000 spender to invest the amount of money into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that's just insane to think about that somebody's gotten to that, and just that other people, like a lot of us, are in the 20s, or all of us are in the 20s. So I mean, the
Yep.
fact that I get told all the time that I'm a mini Roscoe is just crazy to me. When I'm only level 20 new kid, not even halfway through level 20, and he's already 25.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt
I'm not
that.
gonna say numbers, but put it this way: I need a new car, and they could have got me a new car.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah,
jeez.
they could have bought me
Well, so-
3 of my cars.
So when they hit level 25, do they still gain a new kid experience, or does that stop?
I assume that has stopped.
Yeah.
I'd be curious.
I assume.
So they really have no reason to donate anymore then, right?
Doesn't seem that way, unless they need gold, I guess. That'd be the
Oh
only
yeah,
thing
you
I
do
could
get
think of.
gold. You do get a little bit of gold.
Unless you
Very
really
little.
need that gold, and I'm sure those guys aren't hurting for gold. So
Oh yeah.
that's not an issue.
I can only
Especially
imagine.
with the last couple of offers, they've had multiple offers with increased gold amounts,
Mhm.
including the Halloween one this weekend. Then a couple weekends ago, you got 100. You got a ridiculous amount in one of the offer packs that a lot of people bought. I think it was materials and gold only or something like that, and I'm sure all of
Yep.
them invested in that. I mean, even
yeah.
I bought them. So
Yeah, that was a great deal. The matte pack with the coins. It really was a good deal.
yeah, it was a good
I
deal.
bought one of those packs. In my first pack, I got Ninju, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm done. Not spending any more money."
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. I haven't seen how much experience it takes to get like from 23 to 24 and 24 to 25, but I wouldn't doubt that it's as much experience to go from like 23 to 25 as it is from going to 1 to 20.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Or something around there.
I'm level 22, and I'm like I'm less than halfway through. But it's 25,000 experience.
Jesus, because to 21 is 15,000 only, isn't it? I think that's what I'm at.
Yeah,
I'm at 10,000 through to 21.
Yeah,
out of
I'm at
15,000.
just about 12,000.
That's crazy.
That's a ton.
Yeah,
But that's pretty
it's crazy.
common for games like this. Like, I mean, fucking Pokemon Go is the same. From level 39 to 40 was like all the time it took you to get from 1 to 39.
Yeah,
But-
I never hit 40. I hit 30, and I was like, I'm good.
Dude, it's so that took so. They added so many ways to get experience though, but it still doesn't help.
I don't know.
I'm trying to get in Pidgeys, damn it! I'm not getting more Pidgeys and Rattatas. It's just not happening anymore. Right? I'm just done.
I'm sick of this shit. But yeah, so I mean, I imagine they would up player level before they would add card levels.
They might just do it at the same time, honestly.
That's possible, but I feel like they'd have to be some sort of stats as to how many people have at least one level 7 or something like that. Because if they do it when nobody has, you know, it's only the top 2% of people or whatever has a level 7, then that could push other people away who are trying to grind up. So it's kind of like
honestly, I think they'll do it based on the spending class. You know, you want to keep your spending class spending. So if you ever let them hit that plateau too long, you risk them saying, "All right, time to move on to the next game." If there's nothing left to achieve, like
Yeah, this is true. I
well, I
really
mean, the
like
level 7
captives,
legends though will take
balance.
forever.
that's true. I mean, you got some of those guys though that are already pushing level 5 onward on legends, like multiple level 5 legendaries. Once you get, I mean, and once you really like,
level 5s.
once you get to level 6, like that's pretty much it. You get one
Right.
like decent stat boost at level 7, but there's no more. Like that's it. You know, it's
Right.
just a one and done. So once you get it to 6, you're kind of already there.
But then the amount of cards to get from 5 to 6 is as many as it was to 1 to 5. For sure, that's true. So it will
Probably.
take them at least another year unless they implement more ways to get legend cards.
Well, they're doing all these pack
I was
offers
gonna
now.
say these offers have been like they did the Medusa offer. I hit my level 4 Medusa, and I was all excited because I was like, man, I must be really close to being world first level 4 Medusa. And then I see like a week later, David's got level 5 Medusa because they had a fucking 50% chance pack. It's
Oh
just
man.
like, dude, god damn it. Now I see tons of people like sub 1,000 players running around with level 4 Medusa. I'm just like, man, this is
But
stupid.
like this should have been expected though. Once they switched the meta to be more focused around epics and legendaries, like it only followed that they were going to have to make it to where you could get those cards. And so like these packs pretty much were expected.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to slow down either.
No, I agree.
Probably making a killing off of it, so why would you stop? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. I mean, it's a business at the same time. As much as we get upset about it at times that the people invest money in a free-to-play game, but that's part of their bottom line. If they're gonna, I mean, in order for the game to stay free to play, people have to spend money. And if people are dumping money in these big packs, that a lot of us look at it and say, who would spend 4,500 in-game cash on a pack like this? Well, apparently we know some of them that have invested their hard-earned money, whatever, however it means that they go
Kids'
to get about
college funds
it,
and
into those packs. Especially when there's 10 of them that you can buy in a week in one in one weekend. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
To me.
I mean, they're buying all of them, and it's just like, oh my god,
like
that's
recently,
a lot of money to throw at a mobile game.
I bought a few of the Medusa Bebe packs just so I could get her up to level 3 so that I could use her. And I've been buying some of the legendary packs when a good legendary that I'm at least close to getting to level 3 kind of pops up, and I'm like, oh sure, yeah, I'll go ahead and finish it off. I might have to spend like 60, 70, whatever bucks, but
yeah,
I'm doing it maybe once a month, once every 2 months or something. Like, I just say, if you're having fun and you're enjoying it and you can afford it and whatever, it's your money, spend it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago that people attribute value to things they enjoy, and to care what other people attribute that value to is just a waste of your time, because you'll never maybe you'll never understand what it's like to be number one in a mobile game. The number one fucking guy. You know what I mean? Like that probably feels pretty fucking awesome.
But like, I also look at it like, who really cares? Like, what is what is the reward you're getting for that exponential increase in the amount of money and time you're having to spend to get it? Like, and is it really worth it? And to me, the answer is no.
All
so
the bitches.
At that point, I'm just like, you know what? You have to accept it for what it is. There's a hierarchy to it. You're never going to be as good as the people who are investing tens of thousands of dollars into it. But at the same time, what are you really losing out on? And really, like, you're not really losing out on anything at all. Like, you're not winning any of that money back, no matter how good you are at this game. Like,
I know I tell women at the bar, it's like, I'm top 25 in South Park Phone Story, and they drop Hanky right there.
Hanky's drop. It's very nice.
Take me home.
Oh, speaking of panties dropping,
I show my friends the game and I tell them about the game, but like, I don't ever like brag about being, top 200 in the world on it. I'm like, whatever. It's a mobile game. Like, all my friends, they know what mobile games are. They know like how the pay to win structure is. Like, it's just what it is, man. And there are going to be people that make so much money, either that or just don't mind going into insane amounts of debt. And like, that's really the only issue I have with it, is like, it does predate on people's inhibitions, and there are
Get a side job like me. Get a side job specifically for the game, and that'll be that.
So I mean, I have issues with it, but at the same time, like, I also understand that there are people who just make an insanely large salary every year, or who are just independently wealthy, and dropping $10,000 on a game like this is nothing. Like, they can do it, and it's just whatever, and they get enjoyment out of it. And how is that any different from me going out and spending money on something I enjoy?
Right. And if it's the only game they're playing, which probably is, they're not spending $60 every month on a new game, or stuff like that, or $30 on a subscription for WoW or whatever. So
shut your mouth.
I mean, you can.
But
I was looking right at you when I said that one.
just look at stuff like Fortnite and Counter-Strike. Like, those games are serious competitive games that are major esports, and those games still have like cosmetic features that people spend thousands of dollars on that provide no in-game benefit. And it's like, so what's the real difference, man? Like, people spend their money, let them spend their money.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just hate that there are people who get taken advantage of and who end up going into like serious credit card debt because of it, and that is kind of where I take an issue with it. But how do you stop that from happening?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Those same people could gamble their money away.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking about panty dropping, we got Maxi. We got Maxi pads in challenge. We're killing the segues today.
Dude, I haven't even
This was strategic, whether we meant it to be or not. This was a strategic move that we all just developed secretly, telepathically.
we got a whole script written up.
Just with weird ways of segueing into them.
I went 12-0 in my challenge. Like I only did one run and went 12-0, and I didn't use Maxi at all because I still only have him at level 1. I never requested to get him to level 4, and I didn't spend money to get him to level 4. So
yeah, mine's level
I
1
saw
or whatever.
people using him. He looked good in the challenge. I don't know if he's going to be good in all challenges. I don't know if he's going to make mystical kind of like a weekly deck like Adventure Fantasy is. But I mean, he looked good this week.
I did 12-1 with level 3 Maxi in my deck, running like my full tank deck, my normal like tank deck, and just swapping Maxi in for, I think it was for Choir Boy Butters, and yeah, he tore it right up. The only person I lost to had a level 4 Maxi, so take from that what you will. So.
Yes, Drewzy.
Oh, I have a level 4 Maxi, so that's the first time in a challenge I've gone 12-0.
Nice.
I went 24-0 with Maxi as the main. I mean, the one thing I will say about the big ticket challenge.
Wait, I beat you once.
You did? No, that was before I changed to that Maxi deck.
Oh, okay.
But yes, you did beat me once, and there is proof of that in one of my videos. But just the fact that the main focus of meta for challenge mode is primarily adventure and fantasy, which really didn't seem to be the case in this last one. It was more mystical ruled the day with Maxi, and then Sexy and Randy and things like that, like big beefier cards. You saw Manbear Pig being played in challenge mode other than through Jade Greg PKK's deck, to where like you actually saw him used by more people on a grander scale. It was kind of nice to see different cards. Granted, yes, a lot of people don't have level 4 Maxi because a lot of people looked at Maxi as a card as a whole and thought this is not going to help me in the grand scheme of things on ladder. So a lot of people either donated them or just didn't invest time leveling them up. I did, so it helped me. But I mean, if I look at it on ladder, I'm not going to use Maxi at his cost and what he provides for you because it's just not good enough. But at least in challenge mode, it was nice, at least for this week, this last challenge mode, to be useful. But I mean, going forward, maybe he could be, but I don't think he's going to be like he's not going to be the new meta focus for mystical and challenge mode. I don't think.
I agree. It was just the double health that put him over.
Yeah.
Do you think a level 6 Maxi is useful in PV or in normal legendary ladder?
I'm gonna run him. But that's only because I like running all mystic. So.
Okay. So you would just run him in like an all mystical build, just to...
in my full tank deck.
Okay.
I do PCP, Zen Cartman.
You do PCP?
Yeah, yeah, man, I do PCP. Yes, I would do PC Principal, Zen Cartman, Father Maxi, Sexy Nun Randy, Witch Doctor Token, Medusa Bebe. Look at all that health right there.
And Ninju, and then it's just game
Ninju. Yeah. You get that out, and you manage to get all that shit on the field at one time. There's no way they're coming back from it.
And then Hallelujah every
exactly. Just spam Hallelujah at that point.
Oh, man.
My Hallelujah is at level 6 now, so I was doing like 930 HP every time. It's just.
Jeez.
Well, so while we're talking about Maxi, I wanted to pose this question. What are the chances that do you think it's a coincidence or that it was planned that the week after Maxi releases, there's a challenge mode where Maxi just happens to be a really useful unit, like it, in one of the top decks for that challenge?
I'm sure it was.
What do you think the chances are that next week the challenge mode
slows are twice as effective?
Right. It's something like slow.
It's going to be next challenge mode. So
right,
Tally and which Garrison will be OP?
Well, so what if they made it though? We're both slow.
All status effects last
like
twice as long.
Yeah. Like
Okay,
slow
there we
and
go.
hyper effects last twice as long or are twice as effective or something like that. So that like anything that gives a speed bonus is twice as effective, and anything that slows down is twice as effective or something like that.
My only problem with that is that it would be hard to, because there are only so many cards that do that, you know?
Right. Yeah, it would really limit your.
You can double the health on everybody and it just, just happens to benefit tanks.
But I think there's at least 1 or 2 units in every theme now that has one or more of those abilities. Right?
Does Adventure have any control at all? I don't think it. That cat. I don't think Adventure has any control. But on like on purpose, it's meant for damage, But
yeah, I think Adventure only has Jimmy.
Oh yeah, Jimmy, the attack.
Storyteller, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much cool stuff that they could do with challenge, but I feel like some of it would be just harder to implement from a coding standpoint than just double the stats or something.
Do an all level 7 challenge. I think
Yeah,
that would be
Nisu. God, I would love that.
Agree.
Or no
I think that'd
theme
be awesome.
restriction. No theme restriction.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
you
that would
play
be fun
any
too.
card you want.
I would love
Just
that.
play all your legendary cards in a deck and call it a day.
I think that would be great to let you do 3 or 4 themed decks. I think that'd be really fun for sure. And I would love one where they just add a couple cards, like you make your event deck in a different way, and they like add some extra cards, like maybe some extra spells or something that isn't in the game typically, but you can use it in the challenge mode or something like that. I think that would be kind of neat.
You can only pick like 6 cards, and then you get randomly assigned 6 other cards.
Right. Yeah.
It can be from any theme. Although that I think people would complain about because it's too RNG focused.
Too random, yeah.
Yeah, I think people would complain about it.
They should have like a fun challenge, like challenge mode, and then like fun challenge mode. All right.
That's the thing though, is it's such a tight balance, because like if it's not skill based enough, like if it's RNG, people complain that it's too RNG based. But then if you make it to where it's too based on your deck, like if a strategy is just clearly better, than the people who have either the higher level cards or who are just better at that strategy, or it's going to get boring and stale because everybody's going to be playing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like so like I feel like it's a really tight balance, especially with challenge modes and the meta being so restrictive. I still think that like a lot of epics and stuff just aren't very useful in that meta, and it's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, the challenge mode has been so far pretty much 2 options, like a Mystic energy deck, or the classic Belf and Terrence and Phillip, and usually Adventure with that. But
for the most part, challenge mode now is basically like the pre-buff meta, like the pre-epic legendary buff meta. Like
that's true.
You have adventure fantasy, you have like mystical decks, you have adventure sci-fi. Like sci-fi is still poison, still useful for the most part. Week to week it changes which one's better, just based on what ability's out. But yeah, for the most part it's the old meta.
But you've had some challenge modes where, like the Headhunter challenge mode, for instance, like,
which didn't matter.
Yeah, like nobody really utilized that got 12 wins. Most just stuck to, okay, I'm just going to use my normal challenge mode meta deck and then I'll still win, because even if they use Dougie, I got plenty of counters for it, because most would rock either Aerostorm or Lightning Bolt, and you just Lightning Bolt it immediately and Dougie's gone, or whatever else is coming at you.
When you could Lightning Bolt Big Gay Al, it made the whole thing pointless. If Big Gay Al wasn't Lightning Boltable, then maybe, yeah, because that would have been a fucking nightmare to deal with, but everybody just Lightning Bolted him.
He dies to Lightning Bolt.
In that challenge he did, yeah.
Yeah, and one of it was the one where they did like double damage but had half health or something.
Like, I don't know why you would not just do double damage. Like, fuck yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Starvin Marvin coming down the pipe, popping, what would it be, 200 hits? Well, no, what is he, level 3?
Marvin with half health, like
right, exactly.
Any ranged unit and just kind of laugh, like, there you go, waste your forehand.
Yeah, that was the worst idea they've had.
Despite the fact that there have been some real obvious misses on the ideas that they've had, there's also been some really good challenge modes, and we still haven't seen any overlap or any repeat. Like there's been a unique challenge every week for the last 3 months or something.
3 months, I think. I really like the double damage one. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, I like that it is something different every week, and at least
The range was one of my favorites too. Like the range cards.
Oh
did more
yeah,
damage
when it was
than
like
twice the range. Like you could put a Nathan behind your new kid, and he could hit the opposing new kid from across
yeah,
the
that
map.
one was fun too.
That one was really fun too. That one and this last one were probably my two favorites. Yes, even more my favorite than the one I was in.
All right, so we touched on Witch Garrison a bit. But what do you guys actually think about the card and the ability? I personally think slow is just not very good, and so even if it was a freeze cone, maybe be better. But I don't think slow is very good. It does last a very long time, and so it could affect certain cards, like cards that have like a charge animation. It could help prevent them from using it, and you could burst them down. But otherwise, I wouldn't suggest anybody puts any money or time into him personally.
I don't think he's that good.
I don't either.
Really don't.
Plus, his drops have been terrible. Allegedly, even the people that have spent the money in buying the packs have said that his drops have been really rough to come by. And I mean, I'm even in the ones that are like, oh, you get a chance if you go get this pack. You're just getting one. I mean,
Right.
and then people will start requesting them from your group. Like, I don't know about the more top tier groups. I wouldn't say that the clan I'm in is a top tier clan, but like why people that maybe put 60 of the token items into an event and then request they get lucky and get the card either by purchasing a pack or something like that, and then they just request it so they can level it up. It's like, why? I'm sure most clans that are more elite don't allow that. Like you have to have put so much time and effort into an event to then maybe be able to request the card. But then in some of the more mid to lower tiers of clans, it's just like, okay, well, I put an effort in, so I get rewarded, right, by you guys just dumping this card on me. And usually with some of these cards, we don't know how good they're going to be until they get to a certain level, which obviously none of us have probably gotten lucky enough, especially with Witch Garrison's terrible drop rates, to get him to a challengeable level to say, hey, at level 4 or 5 or whatever, he's actually maybe viable at this level or this tier of PvP. And so, I mean, it's just going to take months and months to get him, once he's available wide scale, to where people can possibly get him more readily or get him through donations to where we could get him to a playable level. I mean,
Right.
the fact that he changes his where he looks so rapidly, especially with swarm units, it's not reliable enough. Even though it's a cone shape, like he'll just look off to the side, and
It
you
should
want to
almost
maybe affect.
it should be always forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he's never always looking forward. That's one of the biggest problems I have with his thing. I mean, the charge comes back pretty darn fast as
Mhm.
well, and then lasts quite a bit of time. But his overall stats, I think, are mediocre as far as his base stats with his health and damage scaling. But I mean, that's not supposed to be the end all be all of his ability. But the slow, I mean, Tally's slow, in my opinion, is so much better.
Yeah.
And
'Cause it's
slows
constant.
have their place, at times possibly within them. They're not always reliable all the time, but his is not reliable enough yet, and we don't know how effective he's going to be at the higher tier or as far as leveling goes to where he's going to even be useful.
Does anyone know the stats on him? Like, has anyone figured out the scaling, how it works for him, and where he's going to be sitting at, say, level 5?
I think he's going to be fairly similar to Sexy and Randy level 4, except probably like a little bit less attack and a little bit less health than like a max level 4 Sexy and Randy.
Potentially he'd be alright then, just because of his health pool and being.
He attacks pretty
remotely
quick, too.
tanky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
if
it'll
I-
probably be like a
Decent.
decent amount because he is only 4 cost, whereas Sexy
Yeah.
Nun is 5 cost. So I would expect him to be probably about 30, 40 less attack and then maybe 200 less HP, something like that.
Maybe I don't know. Probably not quite like PC Principle, since PC doesn't have an ability. He's got more stats.
Yeah. I think he's
think
going
he'll
to
have
be really
more
good with
attack.
Cox, personally.
He'll have more attack than PC Principle and less health.
We've waited so long for another fantasy card. This is what we get handed to us.
Yeah.
I mean, this is now only the second fantasy card that's been added to the game. We've had
I was really
48
hoping for Dragons to
mysticals.
red.
We've had 48 mysticals added, and then we get 2 fantasy. And I mean, maybe at some point I'm sure he'll get some kind of buff at some point during the course of the game. To where he'll be more viable. But it just kind of it's nice that we finally got a new fantasy card. Don't get me wrong, but
If
And
I
a new
were
character.
if
Just
I were
the-
to if I would have designed that card, I would have had it always when you use it always look towards the new kid, and then on level up, instead of increasing the slow total duration, I would have increased the angle of the cone to slowly get to be about 180 in front of him. Sort of would probably what I would have done. Because yeah, like you said, you put rats behind him and he's gonna fucking slow one rat. He's not, or it's not gonna be very effective.
or underpants gnomes, or even just chicken coop, because chicken coop is so rapid in the meta that you could just easily distract him to the side or look in a different direction, and he's not going to affect the main bulk of units that you want him to where he's going to be viable.
Maybe if they did a challenge mode where you could only use one theme or something, like I could see him maybe fitting into like a fantasy deck. But
Right.
I just don't know if, at that point, is fantasy going to be the best?
That is fantasy's first like mid tank though, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, it is. Yeah. There's no other. I mean, the other fighter cards are all fairly low health.
3-drop normal ones. Is there another 4-drop fighter in fantasy?
Rogue Token and and Clyde.
Yeah.
Oh, Clyde is 4. I always forget he's 4.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's enough about that witch pursuit thingy.
Speculation though, and this is just me speculating, I think witch Garrison is going to end up being the weakest Garrison.
Probably.
If the data mining from the original ones it holds true, I very much agree. I think because I think Spot Garrison, if he comes to fruition, will be the strongest based on what's been data mined about him. But we can't always 100% verify that's how it's going to end up being in the game. I mean, Redlings could.
You're a bottom tier epic nagger.
All right, so we talk about this almost every podcast, but it's always applicable. The current state of deranking. I don't really derank on my main account, but I definitely derank on my silver account because I don't want it to be in legend yet. I don't really see much difference. I mean, I think you do get matched a little bit based on your deck, or I don't know. I can't figure out how they match you yet.
Have they fixed anything? Have they? I know they reverted the changes, and that's why I went back to Legends, because I was having a good old time just wrecking top 25, sitting at silver 35.
Right, you can't match to Legends from silver anymore.
Yeah. See, what? Yeah, I don't know that. Have they said anything that they've implemented any new changes?
No.
Post revert.
And the last changes that they implemented did jack shit nothing, which is exactly what we predicted they would do.
Yeah.
Just like the last other 2 times that they said that they've implemented a fix, like they just haven't. I mean, I've gotten to the point where I don't derank during the week, like during the normal week. I'm only getting my PvP packs, so I play in like the 400 to 200 range. But yeah, for every single event, because I want to finish them as fast as fucking possible. I don't want to sit here and like, sit on my thumb and rotate for like an additional 6 hours while I go 50-50 on games. Like, I mean, the games are definitely more fun when I don't derank. Like, it's really not that exciting or interesting when you derank. Like, it's just it's efficient is all it is, and that's what it comes down to. And so, like, again, like the obvious solution is you have to remove that efficiency, and the way you remove that efficiency is you make it more rewarding for people to play at the highest level.
So that it ends up being more efficient. Yeah, because if you're grinding shit, you don't grind the longest level. That's the most fun. You grind the easiest shit you can. That gives you rewards.
You just have to make it as efficient, because if you make it at least as efficient, then it comes down to, do I want to do these really boring games that just don't take me a while, or would I rather play more fun and engaging and interesting games at the top? And as long as the reward per hour comes out to be the same and you're able to finish the events and stuff, I think most people want to play the more fun and engaging and interesting games. I know I do. I have a lot more fun when I'm grinding at the top levels, but dude, I just can't fucking take the extra 3, 4, 5, 6 hours every weekend that it would take me, especially on these locker events, man. These locker events are so fucking terrible because they're so based on RNG. There's only so many lockers you can open, and unless you're wanting to drop large amounts of cash, like I have to do about 2.5 locker limit runs to finish one of these events without spending any cash or with spending very little cash. I can do the card choice events in about an hour and a half. It takes me about 1 locker limit run to finish those events. I mean, there really shouldn't be that much of a difference. And if there is a difference, then these fucking token events should be rewarding us more for the extra time that we're having to put in to complete them. That's just, I'm all about time spent versus reward gain, and especially in these pay-to-win mobile games. For me, and I think for most other people, that's exactly what it is. It's how much time am I spending versus what reward am I getting, and it's really that simple.
Yeah, and like you said, there's no point to be there's no point to be number 1 or number 20 or number whatever unless you have that pride or that like you just want it. Right. And if what you can, and once you get to a point where like the cards, you're waiting for 1,000 cards on something, it's not really, you don't notice the progression, so it stops becoming fun to progress, and then it stops becoming fun to play games that don't. A draw in this game is the most infuriating fucking thing I've ever experienced. The other, yesterday, it took me 6 hours to get locker limit on both my accounts. Usually it only takes me 5, because I'm usually around my rank on my legend account. But when I have 5 draws in a day, it takes half an hour longer for that 1 locker limit, if not even longer than that. It's just fucking ridiculous. And sometimes when I'm gonna draw, I just let the guy win at the end so that somebody fucking gets something out of it.
Yeah, I mean, and it sucks because those draw games are oftentimes some of your most fun games. They're the most engaging, and you get jack shit nothing. And it really doesn't matter what mode you're playing, whether it be the ladder or in challenge. Getting a draw is just dog shit in both modes.
Right.
And I don't know.
I think there should be, during an event, there should be some sort of consolation on a draw. Something. Give them both 5 fucking tokens or something, or give them half of the card value of their deck or something. Just do fucking something so it's not 4 minutes wasted. Because I can't imagine if you're in the top 100 or something and you're matching up with the top 100 constantly, how many fucking draws you're gonna get throughout the day. And you're just like, oh well, this guy's playing, I'm gonna wait an hour so that I'm not matched up against him every fucking every 4 games.
I'm not gonna speak on that. Every time every goddamn time I play David, first match. I swear to God, I woke up tonight, I took a nap after family stuff, and took a nap, woke up, and I'm all blurry eyed in bed. I'm like, I guess I'll do this free PvP pack. First match, David. I'm just like, fuck you. Just why? Every single time. Ridiculous. You gotta hide from some of those high rank players though. You just gotta log off when they're
exactly. Yeah, I mean, if you really care about your rank, and you're number 1, and there's a number, or let's say you're number 3, and you know for a fact that the current number 5 will beat you if you match up with him. You just can't play.
If I was like Shane, Shane is a really good player and everything, and he's got a deck
monster
on my level deck, but maybe a little better than mine. Yeah, just a teeny bit better than mine, but nowhere near number 1's deck or Roscoe's deck. If I saw that David or Roscoe is playing, I would just be like, yep, logging off, because I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose 100 plus elo just for a guaranteed loss against these guys. It's yeah. I don't worry about that at my rank, but if I was up in top 10, I'd be legit nah, not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, just to reiterate on the deranking, I still think the only solution is to make it, you have to fix the reward system and how this game rewards people for the amount of time that they're spending. And unless they're willing to admit that and actually do that, I don't think deranking is ever going to change. It's just not, because the only reason people do it is out of efficiency. And on these events, these locker events, either they need to double the rewards because you really are spending double the amount of time, or just a shitload of in-game resources to finish it quickly. They either need to double the reward you're getting from it, or they need to make it to where you just get X amount of resources or X amount of the tokens for every win you get, regardless of if you're opening lockers or not. That way people can grind it without having to be restricted to a locker limit. Like,
right. They could make it so that after locker limit on a win, you get like 5 or 10 or 50 or something, like just some like low amount, where even after locker limit, you could still grind some final points. Because I can't imagine.
Remove it from lockers, period, and just every win you get 10, 20, 25, whatever they decide, however many wins they want. Like I said, usually for me to finish one of the card events, I do about 30 to 35 wins, anywhere between 30 to 35 wins, and I'm completing that card event, no problem. So just set it to the same thing, 30, 35 wins, whatever they want. And as long as you get those 30 or 35 wins, doesn't matter if you do it in one locker limit run or not, that's, you complete the event instead of making it RNG based, because having it RNG based just really fucking sucks, man. It just really, really sucks.
Yeah, like doing a typical locker limit, if you're not like digging deep for like the 50s and the 35s, you get around 500, but that's even if you're dropping, 2 or 7 to try to pull those ones. And I'll be honest, I feel like the odds of you getting it in the 2 or 5 is very, very high, because I've found that in the locker events, when you have like a 50 drop or a 35 drop, it's very rare you have to go very deep to get it.
I agree with that. It does seem like the RNG is a little bit on your favor as far as those first two buy-ins. And I mean, look, I'm complaining about this, but I'll give them credit, man. Compared to a lot of other mobile games out there, you can at least finish these events without really having to spend a lot or any money, which for a mobile game like this is fairly unique. Like, you don't see a lot. Like, a lot of mobile games, you have to spend quite a bit of money to even finish a weekly event.
Yep.
So I'm at least thankful for that, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't still be improved.
Yeah, or you have to play like the perfect weekend of game, like the ones where, let's say a game where like every 10 minutes you get another energy or something like that to do a level. You have to play you cannot waste any of your energy throughout the week. So you have to be like checking in every 2 hours or whatever, which can be just fucking, what a hassle.
Yeah, I mean, my wife plays a mobile game, the Trailer Park Boys mobile game. She really enjoys it, and she cannot, like, literally, it's impossible. No matter if she plays all weekend long or not, she cannot actually finish the event unless she spends money, and she doesn't really spend money on it. But she's able to get far enough in the event that she gets like relevant items. She just doesn't get like the super premium stuff. But
Right.
that's all stuff that's just, it's basically content gated behind a money wall.
Yeah. Which I guess you could consider like the top 25 rewards in this game.
Sure.
Rewards stuck behind a money wall, but
or like the new, I really don't like, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I really do not like that they're adding leaderboards to these locker challenges where you're getting these tokens.
No.
Like, this is fucking absurd, man, because it's just how much money are you willing to spend refreshing PvP packs and buying out lockers?
But even that, you're only getting challenge mode level rewards. I mean, you're not even getting rewards on enough of a scale that you're already investing a crap load of
5
time.
epics.
Plus the amount of
5
slack
epics.
that some of these guys have gotten on social media for the amount of time that they invested in the last event that had an event leaderboard system. I don't know if it was 2 weekends ago or if it was last weekend, where like just on, at least on, because I'm on the Facebook fan page, and there was just a lot of people just talking about how at least the person that had, I think it was over 5,000. It was like
it was so much.
5 or 6 times more than what he was needed to get the event done.
He almost had a team event by himself.
Yeah, I mean, it was just ridiculous how much time was done. But at the same time, it's like when we go back to how much money is worth the value of your experience, how much time is worth your experience. So for that person, they felt that their time was worth the value of getting that one guaranteed epic card, and then all the other stuff that comes along with it. I mean, is that worth
5 epics, but
hours and hours and hours
so
of your
5
time for 5 epic cards? Plus, you would assume that person already probably has a pretty decent pool of good card bases. Like you're assuming they're not a free to play person that's in the bronze shield doing all that time and effort. You're assuming they're probably and they admitted that they were in Silver Shield, floating around 45 to 48 to get all those wins. And then he talked about he had over 600 wins to get the amount of tokens that he got in with the cards, because it was the card level. It was the last card one.
Oh, was it? Okay. Yeah, the
So
card.
he had
I
over
mean,
600 wins with the points. I think he had 7 points in his deck.
either way, it's just all about how much
Okay.
money, and like, so these things just reek of just being a cash grab.
Well,
is really all
on
it
locker
is.
events, I would say it's a cash grab, but on the card events, I would say
still
it's
a
just
cash grab.
it's just who can play the most. Who can play the most?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
you're right, because you can just keep earning without having to spend money. So yeah,
Right.
you're right. It is.
Yeah, but I agree. The locker ones is just who's gonna refresh the most PvP packs,
Mhm.
because that's the only guaranteed way to buy it, and who's gonna buy out all 90 lockers, or maybe set it or maybe time it right to be able to get 120 total lockers over the weekend, or however it's possible to do it if you time it right.
To get that infamous 50 potions.
The
How many
50
times did I buy
potions.
those lockers, get those 50? Actually, I got lucky. My first win, I got 50 potions in my second locker that I opened.
It's
That's
really
the
just not
first time
worth it
in-
though, because like epics, I really agree with what Death was saying, that epics after you get to level 4 are just they plummet in value, because
Yeah.
it takes so many of them to get to level 5, and then the difference between a level 4 epic and a level 5 epic is so minuscule. Like, it's just like their value just plummets. So like, I've stopped really even spending a lot of cash trying to chase epics in lockers. Like,
Yep.
I may chase like 2 or 5, but I really don't go above the 5.
Right.
It's just not worth it.
And it's just
You
not.
guys just gotta pick a deck, pick a theme, and just invest everything into that theme, and just
Yeah.
touch nothing else.
Because when you need 350 fucking cards for the next one, it's like getting one is like it doesn't matter. You don't feel
doesn't matter.
closer. Like 100, you still feel a little. You're like 1% closer. We get
The only
it.
value in the game right now is chasing legendaries, and that's really what I save my cash up for. I save my cash up to get to like at least up to 2,000, to where if a really good legendary shows up in the daily shop, I will consider buying it. Or if like a good legendary shows up in a pack and it's like the Bebe pack where it's like 1,000 cash for a 50% chance at a Bebe, then hell yeah, like that's a great deal.
Yeah.
Because at least your legendaries from level 3 to level 4 is still a good upgrade. From level 4 to level 5 still a good upgrade. Like,
Right.
I don't know when do legendaries actually hit their peak and start to plateau
don't.
off. They don't. They
don't.
go all the way to 7.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
7. I mean, 7 is still a huge upgrade, but at level 5, legendaries outclass like everything. Period.
Yeah.
Like just period. There's no. It's out of control. When legendaries hit level 5, they are like raid bosses. It's absurd how
Yeah, so, I mean,
insane it is.
Legendaries are really the only thing you should be spending your in-game cash on, as far as I'm
Yes.
concerned. When they show
Yep.
up in lockers, buy them, and just other than that, save up your cash, and you can buy the 50% chance packs, and those are decent
Yep.
deals. Or even like for the good legendaries, I don't think it's bad to spend 2,000 when they show up in your daily deal shop.
Yeah, if
Like,
you're
yeah.
busting for the 1 of 4 for like level 3, absolutely the 2,000 is worth it. I don't think I could muster to buy 2,000 if I needed 8 more. But if I was on
I need
7 of
one
8
more
or
Witch Doctor
something, then
token
fuck yeah.
for level
Yeah,
4.
if it's gonna get you to a level, man, that's definitely the best choice, because that's the most efficient thing is to, because you could never get that card.
Yeah.
It's possible that you could never get that card.
When you were
Right.
1 card away, the drop rate decreases significantly. So you can
I
wait
believe
like
that,
5
man.
months. You can wait 5 months on one legendary card.
I had like 6 different legendaries.
Right now.
I had 6 different legendaries sitting at 3 out of 4. And the only reason, the way I was able to get most of them, is I actually either they popped up in a locker, or
Mhm.
or I got them in the daily shop. Or
Right.
with Bebe, they were in the packs.
Yeah.
But I would
Man,
really
I
like.
wish I
to
would have
increase
known.
drop rates of
I wish I
legendaries.
would have known about that Bebe pack. That was while I was on like my game hiatus, where I was just like taking a break and not paying any attention to the game. And then I come back and everyone has like level 3 and level 4 Bebes, and I'm just like, what happened?
That was a brutal
And
pack.
it's like, oh, there's a 50% Bebe offer for 1,000 fucking cash, and I was just like, oh Jesus. Like my favorite card in the game, and I just like missed the entire offer on it. I probably would have spent full money on that shit. I'm not gonna lie.
You hear that, Red
I
Links?
really
hear that,
really
Red
don't
Links? Do it
spend too
again.
much on this game anymore.
I think
Hear
I
that, Red
bought,
Links? Yeah, let me buy some babies.
I think I bought like 8 packs to finish off my level 3
Yeah.
baby, and it was
Jesus,
like
yeah.
8,000 cash. But I mean,
Yeah.
It's an instant upgrade to your deck. Like,
oh, it was huge. Yeah,
It's
it's
an insane upgrade.
from 2 to 3 is such a big jump, and then even 3 to 4 is like it's legendaries are
Wait
just
till you
where
hit
the value's
4.
at.
4 is like she's such an OP card at 4. She's so
Yeah.
strong.
She is really good.
yeah, because she can one shot level 4 Cox at that point, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
And there's a bug with that because I played her against a chicken coop, and like she killed like about 7 or 8 chickens. Like you saw the poof, but no snake appeared.
Yeah,
so there's a bug with that.
It's not just the Cox. It's been happening on occasion with a lot of things. I think you just see it more with the Cox because it's so plentiful how many she kills. You know.
Yeah, I see Transmog not give the rat sometimes.
With the rat, yeah.
I gotta
Yep.
let my
The
dog out, guys. I'll be
transmogrify
right back.
abilities sometimes don't work. It's weird.
And that can really screw you up too. Especially with the snakes, because the snakes
Yes.
can
They're incredibly
change
Poison,
it.
you lose that
That-
poison effect.
It's
Yeah.
not the poison. The poison doesn't even matter. It does like no damage. The poison is worthless. But having that extra body right there to slow down like the cock push and to slow down anyone else is
and you
huge.
just eat like a dog poo hit or something.
Exactly. It's huge how good that is. People really underestimate just how powerful it is to have one extra body on the field.
And I've killed a few
I've had
mechas
cock
with the
magic
poison,
take a
though.
couple snakes before, and it's just like, what, bitch?
I've killed a few mechas with the poison though.
I mean,
it takes fucking
does do
forever, but
damage.
it works.
It does do damage, but yeah, it does. It takes forever.
And it never
only
ends, does
like
it?
10 damage per second. It never ends. It's
Probably less
permanent.
than 10 damage per second. It's probably like 3 damage per second.
At level.
It's so
at level 3, it could not kill a level 6 Friar Jimmy because he just out healed it. So it was
Right.
10 or less at level 3,
Right.
which is stupid.
Assuming it's the same damage per second as the level of the card, maybe. So if it's like
Ooh.
a level 4 Medusa Baby, it's maybe 4 poison damage per second.
yeah, it's
Who knows?
really low.
But with how highly leveled these cards are and the increase to health pools, over
Yeah.
time, I mean,
Right.
you're just basically tickling them to death instead of actually doing.
They have to already be pretty much dead for it to
Yeah.
kill them.
Yep.
And then it's still like, oh, Mecha still got a full charge off before she died. He died.
Yep.
All right,
I've had
so
people purify it though, and I'm just like, all right.
oh, that's great, man. Somebody purified it.
yourself knock yourself out.
It's a real good use of 2 energy, man. All right, perfect timing of bio. We're just gonna switch over to the topic of the evening.
Oh no! I bet
The
that has to do
challenge
with
modes.
wings.
The challenge modes. So we already talked a bit about the big ticket challenge. We can touch on that a little bit more. But let's jump right in with 2 weeks ago, right? Was the content creator decks, which had your man Drewzy, Pharaoh, Haze Demon, and J Gray BKK making their own decks. Drewzy, you want to just
in my mystic spot? First
want-
off, I just want to say that
I know.
you need to fix that,
dude, that's Discord, not me. Drewzy, just kind of explain how it all came together, and we'll go from there.
So essentially, like, Steve reached out to us, and now I assume that he only reached out to the people that had NDAs already signed. So that's why because a lot of people were saying, well, like, why didn't some of the more popular either Twitch streamers or different content creators get decks, or will the Twitch people ever get decks? Maybe you guys will sometime. I don't know, but he reached out to us, said, hey, we're going to try to this challenge mode. We were told the week before the challenge mode went out. So it was after whatever the challenge mode was the week before that, which I think was the double damage one, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was double damage, yeah.
Came out, and then like literally like within an hour after that challenge mode went live, they reached out and said, and we had no idea who the other 3 were going to be, but he like reached out to us each individually, said, hey, this is what we're going to do. And then they said, submit a deck to us and then we'll get back to you. So then, we each submitted our own decks, and we didn't have any leeway into who made, what decks were being made until roughly about 12 hours before the event went live. And then so one of the big things that a lot of people said were, how come there was no communication between us over, testing the decks, thinking about the deck builds, all of that stuff? Because we had to submit the deck for them to test it long before we knew what the decks were going to be. So there was a lot of breaking communication on all parties, both through us and probably through Red Links as well.
So they actually had to test your decks themselves?
Yes, they tested their
Was it
decks.
just you four, or were there other people that also submitted decks and then they
As
picked
far
the
as I know,
best
it was
ones?
just
Because if they picked the best ones,
no.
that was
Well,
good.
we each threw a deck out. Hayes's original deck didn't pan out well in testing, so he had to change his last minute, which is the deck that was used in challenge mode. So, I mean, my thought process in my deck, at least, and I can't speak for the other three.
Wait. So Hayes submitted a deck.
Yes.
That was worse than yours and Jay's.
And then Red Link. Well, yeah. So yeah, we can make that assumption, right? Because Drewzy's deck passed. But so Hayes submits a deck.
Barely passed.
Well, so Hayes submits a deck. The people at Red Links tested, and then they were like, this isn't good enough. We don't like this. Redo it. Like,
yeah,
like something about that, like, I don't like. If this is supposed to be like, these creators get together and they well, not necessarily get together, but these creators submit decks, then why does the opinion of Steve or Buck or anyone else at Red Links matter as to the efficacy of the deck? Like, you're asking these guys to submit decks, like, why not just let them submit decks?
I don't know as far as that process. Because if there were any issues with the decks associated with them, we were told individually. It was not like a universal thing where it was posted, because they put us in a Discord for the four of us, but that wasn't brought up in that specific one. It was brought up in.
They made an entirely different Discord for it.
No, within the NDA.
Oh, like a different channel.
Discord
I was like, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah. But I mean, based on that, it was probably individually reached out to Hayes and said, hey, the deck's not up to par for what we want, so we need a new submission. And they had warned us beforehand. They said, we're going to test this deck out. If it pans out, if we need any adjustment, we'll let you know. So that was uttered at the beginning once the deck was submitted. But
see, I think it would have been a lot of fun if you guys had gotten together and actually worked together and come up with 4 different decks, tested it in friendly mode or whatever, in friendly battles.
Yeah.
And then, had 4 decks that were all kind of equal power. Like, you weren't just running like all the best cards. You were running, each deck had some good cards, some less than efficient cards.
Fun cards.
Yeah, fun cards, but they all played pretty well together. And that way, it didn't really matter which deck you had. Like, some people probably wouldn't like one deck over the other just because of play style differences and what they're used to. But like to me, that, like, it was just a missed opportunity to really make a fun, engaging format that wasn't just dominated by 1 or 2 decks, usually just one deck like it is every week.
Correct.
Sure.
And unfortunately that didn't happen. So like I said, there was bad communication on both parties. It was a rush process. Like, we were given 1 day to make the deck.
That's not surprising.
And then we made the deck, and then they ran it through testing for probably 3-4 days. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, the next week rolls around. Monday, that event goes live, Wednesday, Thursday. So then, well, depending on time zones and things like that, but at least Wednesday, Thursday for, US time zones. Like, and so, it went, we were told Tuesday late evening, this is the decks you're going up against. And the second I saw the other 3 decks, I said, fuck, I'm going to get so much crap from so many people from my deck build. And like most people have said, and that either have supported it or unsupported it, I built the deck based on cards that I enjoy playing, because all of us have different play styles and different cards that we enjoy playing. Granted, some of the cards that I suggest that I put in my deck are not challenge specific cards, or cards that are good in challenge mode.
Right.
Or one's probably not good in the game at all. And we all know which one that was. So I put it in there because in that moment, I wanted to pick a deck that people would look and say, hey, this is, or that people that have watched my channel know this is cards that I enjoy playing. that I would have wanted to put in a deck so that they couldn't say that, oh, this was just some deck built by Red Links and they just put my name behind it. But they could easily look at it and say, hey, this is definitely a deck Drewzy would run. And that's exactly what I did. Now, granted, I know that when I built that deck, I thought to myself, and I did think about it, even though a lot of people said, oh, you didn't even think about it. You just picked some random ass deck. You just hit the random button and then you submitted it to them.
That comment was pretty funny.
That's not what happened, but that's what a lot of people thought. And so, yes, there were definitely there were some weaknesses to the deck. There was no legitimate tank. There was no cancel card because poison doesn't really count. And then Imtweak was in there. Those were the three biggest problems of the deck. And
I didn't lose with your deck.
And a lot of people didn't. I didn't either. See, that was the other thing, is that I never really tried the deck out in all honesty, I didn't really try the deck out in challenge mode before I submitted it.
You could win with your deck, though.
I was nervous that even I'd lose with my own deck, and that would be even worse because that's all I needed was more clout on my deck suggestion choice was by me not being able to win with it. But I won with it every time I played. I had a lot of people that won that got thrown in, 4, 5, 6 matches out of a 12 wins with my deck and won maybe 4 or 5 of them. I mean, the only deck that I could win with was Jay Gray's, and that's not because Jay Gray's deck was terrible. It wasn't great, but I don't play well with heavy energy style decks. That's just not my play style. I play with generally medium to lower energy cost decks because anyone that's watched me play knows that as well. So I didn't do well with the 4.3, I think was his energy cost style deck with no freaking energy staff. Also, let me add that to it. So I mean, like, it was just difficult that if you weren't used to that play style to be effective with that deck. And that was the
energy staff would have been bad in that deck, though. Like, energy staff's really not
wouldn't have been ideal. Energy staff is only good after 2 minutes have passed. It has negative value before that.
Yeah.
So,
but I assumed that based on that the 4 of us would each make like other people suggested, either we all decide we're all going to make meta style decks, we're all going to make fun style decks, and that wasn't really discussed or established. But I assumed that we all would make fun style decks, and that didn't Pharaoh picked more meta focus. Hayes made an effort to make it non-meta focused, and then unfortunately had to
that's what I was thinking.
meta focus in the end. So we had basically a 50-50 toss-up of 2 meta style challenge mode decks and 2 non. So then that's what pissed the vast majority of people off, because it wasn't one or the other, it was 50-50. So it's like you prayed you got Hayes or Pharaohs and you didn't get mine or Jay Grays, and then but some people it didn't matter one way or the other.
Like you guys, you and Jay Gray did not like nearly the amount of hate that you guys got. Like, it's fine to be critical of like some of, because like you admit it, like there were some card choices that going back, if you had another chance, you probably wouldn't have played Imp Tweak, you probably wouldn't have played Poison, you would have put in something like Unholy Combustion or just something different. Like, but despite that, from the beginning, I said that this is something that, like, this is Red Links' fault, because like this really has Red Links written all over it. Like, and why people are like getting onto you guys when the real people you should be getting onto are Red Links for missing an opportunity to actually like let you guys collaborate together and really come up with a fun, engaging format. Instead, they force you to do it within an hour. And then they had to test. Oh man, it's just.
Well, I mean, now that the beta program's going to be hopefully starting next month, maybe that'll change going forward. That if they ever try this effort again, that the testers can test it out. That the actual gamers that actually play the game, and I'm not saying that Red Links doesn't play the game, but that the ones that might spend more time and investment into it than maybe some of the Red Links developers or people, because they're focusing on hopefully on other projects and things like that, to where we can test it and see, hey, this works, this doesn't work, and then it can be corrected, or that this communication issue that we had this time will be not an issue in the future if they say, hey, let's get 4
communication issue though. Like, that's the thing.
Generally,
like, if this was like just like a one-off occurrence, or even maybe a 2-time occurrence, but this, like, it's almost every time that there's an issue, it's a communication issue. Almost every single time it's a communication issue. And it's like, at some point, like, you just have to act like, when is this going to change? Or is it always just like going to be terrible communication? Like,
the fear is the fear in that answer is we don't know.
Yeah.
until it happens again.
So So let me communicate something to Red Links right now, or to at least you, Drewzy, who I know who has somewhat of a line to Red Links being in the NDA channel. Let's make a challenge where you get to pick from 4 different decks, and the decks are one theme decks. So there's one adventure deck, one fantasy deck, one mystic deck, and one sci-fi deck.
Yeah, I think that would
make that mystic deck. As long as I can make the mystic deck, I don't give a fuck.
I'll make sci-fi. You can make mystic, and we'll figure out
you go.
whoever makes the rest.
Yeah, something like
There
that
you
would be
go.
fun. But like I said, just make sure that above everything else, that all 4 of the decks interact really well together. That there's not one or 2 decks that are just clearly better than the other 2 or 3 decks. And then, it'll be a fun and engaging format that everybody can participate in. And I mean, there's still going to be people that are going to hate it because they're just people that are bad at the game and look for an excuse to like not accept that they're just bad at the game.
But here's the ultimate
Right,
question: was my
right.
deck worse than the Hallelujah deck from the
No,
original one?
no, God, no.
See, so at least I'm somewhat better.
I could
can't
actually
build it
win
up.
games with your deck. Like that Hallelujah deck was like literally unplayable trash. I don't know who put that deck together, but Jesus, man, it was bad.
Yeah, I just
Hallelujah.
like the
It's such a great card.
Yeah, I just like I love the designer deck format because I think I said that should be something they did like on the first podcast before they ever did it. My like, what challenge mode would you like to see was one where you have a set deck that you choose from. But my idea was like one person gets a Cartman deck, one person gets a Kyle deck, and then it's like, it's just random, kind of like Tavern Brawl and Hearthstone used to do. But it's such a good thing because you know exactly what you're going up against. It's very early on. I know I'm going up against Drewzy's deck. I'm going up against Hayes' deck. So I know that there's no Unholy Combustion in that deck, or I know that there's poison in that deck, or so it's like I'm gonna play to counter, like to make sure that he can't counter me with what he has, which is like a higher level of play than the people who were mad that Drewzy's deck wasn't quite as good or that Jay Gray's deck wasn't as good because they just didn't understand how to fucking play it right. Which I think was the majority of the hate that you two guys got was just simply on people that are not good at the game and can only win with in ladder they can only win with their strong fucking high level cards, and in challenge they can only win with their level 4 Terrence and Phillip and Belf. And that's it.
Well, most
and those
of
people,
the hate I got were from the Mercenaries group, not like Mercenaries Discord. Which
so
I'm a
yeah,
member
people
of.
who
And then the
people who
regular
can't play the
Foamastore
game.
Discord.
People who can't play the
I
game,
mean-
exactly.
Jay Gray's deck was actually fine though. Like there was really nothing wrong with Jay Gray's deck. Like I was winning games perfectly fine with that deck as long as you could get the Man Bear Pig Pope Timmy combo kind of rolling. Like it was kind of draw dependent. Like you could get some really shitty draws with Jay Gray's deck that just fell apart. And I think CKI was a mostly awful card. I only really got the combo to work once with him. But I mean that aside, like Jay Gray's deck worked pretty well as long as you knew how to play it, because at least the 2 adventure fantasy decks didn't really have a great way to deal with Man Bear Pig, Pope Man Bear Pig. Like they just didn't have a really good answer to that. And you could really kind of piggyback off of that to win games with Jay Gray's deck. But if you're trying to do the whole CKI Robin Tweak thing, like you were running into Lightning Bolt all day long.
Yep.
Lightning Bolt
in challenge mode,
Aerostorm.
Canadian Knight Ike is terrible. Like
Yeah.
he's not good.
Yeah. So I had no problem playing Jay Gray's deck. I mean, Drewzy's was objectively the weakest of the 4 decks, but like you said, I don't put that on you. As soon as I saw the deck,
Don't put that on me.
I knew exactly what your mindset was when you made that deck, because I was like, oh, these are cards. Like I've watched Drewzy long enough. All of these are cards that he talks about all the time, or says that he really enjoys, or plays a lot. Like so, to me, I just like Drewzy built a deck of cards that he really likes, that he enjoys playing. Jay Gray built a deck based on 2 combos that he just absolutely adores and talks about all the time, being Pope Timmy and Man Bear Pig, and Robin Tweak and CKI. So he built a deck around those 2 combos. And then Hayes and Farrow submitted meta decks.
But we were also asked by Red Links to make a video on our respective channels, just like saying like our strategies behind the deck and then how to win with the deck was one of the things that they asked us to do. Because of all the slack that I got, I refused to make one. So I
Right.
didn't even make one, which some people then asked, well, how do you even play your deck? Like, how do you win with your deck?
Yeah.
And and I was just so fed up with the hate that I got from the community, and not everybody, but from enough of the community to where I was just like, you know what? I'm not even going to take the effort out of my life to make this for you guys because of how just and it was a bitterness for like a day, and then it kind of cools over, which is pretty much how the community is. For one day the community just goes ham on something, and then they kind of get over it, like the sun rises and then all of it's gone to some
Isn't it
degree,
fun to be
not with
flamed on Reddit?
everything, but
You
with
gotta
that.
have tough skin, man. Like you gotta.
And I get that, and I'm learning that. I mean, I'm still new to the whole content kind of thing, and I've never stated once on ever that I'm great at this game or that I'm pro at this game or anything in that level. I enjoy playing this game. I enjoy making content for this game, and this community as a whole is awesome. And
Sure.
we've all enjoyed being a part of this community, obviously, because we still play the game. But I mean, maybe not as much as we once were because of some of the decisions that have been made by the development team. But as a whole, we still play the game. And that's why I continue to, and why all of us continue to even do this podcast and do things for this game, because we enjoy it and we enjoy the people, many of the people involved in it. But at least for about a 12 to 14 hour stint, I got a lot of hate. And some people have suggested, even in this chat and in other chats, like they never should have put our names tied to the decks. It wouldn't have helped anything. And all, I mean, it may have helped a little bit, but I don't think it would have. They would have been like, whoever made that trashy sci-fi green deck,
right? You still know that it's about you. So.
Yeah, and I already knew that they'd be like, I want to know who the hell made this terrible ass deck so that I can, whine about it.
So I can subscribe to their channel and then unsubscribe.
Exactly. And I got, and that's all it was a bunch of people subscribed to my channel literally to just put down votes to all my stuff. And in the grand scheme of things, a couple down votes doesn't really matter to me.
Dude, no publicity is bad.
Off YouTube people, so don't think that that's really gonna like hurt anything on a grand scale. I mean, but it's it's mildly discouraging, but at the same time, like Bio said and many other people said, you gotta have thick skin to do this stuff. And
yeah, you just have to understand that there are just going to be trolls. But I mean, I will say, like over the last couple of months, I feel like the community has gotten a lot better. Like a lot of like the people who were just being consistently negative have seemed to have just decided to finally move on. So
I feel like OGL is still here though, right? Is he still playing?
Yeah, One Giant Leap still plays.
Yeah, well, he was
polar
very
opposite to Glanzer.
He was very, very, very strongly worded against. I don't think it was you though, Drewzy. I think his was against Jay Gray.
His was against Jay Gray.
Yeah.
His was against Jay Gray.
He did. That's because he hates Jay Gray though.
Like vitriol is the perfect word for that, man.
Yeah,
that's OGL though.
He does not like Jay Gray BKK one bit, like at all.
But
he's not bad on the Facebook page though, because it's his actual name.
He's my toxic buddy. He's my toxic buddy.
I agree with Jay Gray, with OGL on about 95% of stuff.
Yeah.
He, for the most part, he hits it nail on the head with like the way that Red Lynx like runs the game, but he takes it to an extreme that I don't think is necessarily productive sometimes.
Yeah, definitely agree there.
More toxic than me. I remember when the whole toxic ordeal happened, when they stopped doing their giving cash and stuff for the streamers, and OGL and I were both kind of like singled out in the Discord, the like Red Lynx content creator Discord. But he was, he's definitely more toxic than I am, to say the least.
Well, like, and they started doing that again, like letting content creators do. But now I think they stopped doing it again.
Not me though.
I don't know why they stopped. Like they started and then like it went away like within like a couple of weeks again, and I'm like, because like after they started doing it again, I was like, oh well, now I wouldn't mind being part of the Discord because I would love to do the giveaways, like at least because before like you got almost nothing, like you didn't get content, like a heads up on content for like maybe it was less than 24 hours. Like you had less than 24 hours to make content on before they release stuff. And for me, that didn't work because most of the time was when I would be asleep because they're on Finland time. So I'm asleep. The only person that was benefiting from it was like Jay Gray and Average Guy because they both live on that side of the world. The rest
they
of us
could get their video out so that when I woke up at 8 a.m. when I woke up at 8 a.m., their videos were already out.
Right. Yeah. And so like it just wasn't any benefit. And then they started doing the giveaways, and I was like, oh well, now I wouldn't mind being a part of it, but I'd already left it.
Yeah, and as much as people claim I'm a shill, I have not once gotten anything from Redlings. I've never gotten cash. Like there's other people who I was in their stream, and it was like the first time.
That makes it even worse.
The first time it is making it worse. It's the first. Well, I have a different opinion on if I want something to progress, I'm not gonna boycott it and tell people to stop paying the salary of the people who are making the bills.
I don't think you're.
Why don't you want to hold Redlings hostage?
But anyway, I was in a stream, and the fucking fucking Buck popped in or something and gave him 1,000 cash on the spot, and I'm sitting there like, you motherfucker! Like I've been streaming this game 3 days a week for fucking 6 months now, and I haven't gotten shit.
The most I got, I think, was 3 Cupid Cartmans to get him to the next level.
Nice.
It was right. I think it was right after Cupid became live, and Buck jumped in, and I was like, dude, I just need 3 more, and I can get him to, I think, level 4, level 3, level 4, which at that point wasn't that big a deal still.
Right.
And so I was like, he was like, hey Buck, you want to drop me 3 Cupid Cartmans? That'd be great. And then he literally sent a message that said, restart your game, and then I restarted it. And he's
That's great.
So I mean that's the most I've ever gotten personally. I know that other people have gotten significantly more.
And that means he has the ability to just add cards to account.
24-hour stream, so.
Yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, SDNW, that you've gotten that a couple times, and some people gave you crap for that, which I thought was just stupid.
You don't really have a choice if they do that.
Goddamn 24-hour.
You were doing it for a reason. Like, yeah, you were doing it for a reason. Plus the fact, if we're doing it for 24 hours, I mean, it's not like you were just.
Blig and I both got 6,000 for the 420 event to open up a bunch of tally packs.
Oh god damn it! Really?
6,000.
Fuck me, man.
Fuck, man.
Horseshit. I'm done.
Dude,
I'm done. I'm going Minion Masters streaming only. Minion Masters only.
Blig and I got so much
on
Reddit, man. Like people on Reddit like trashed the shit out of us because they gave us that.
Well, yeah, that happened.
I would even have done this stream with you.
There was another game that I played where the pretty much one guy made content for it because it was kind of a dumb game to make content for, in my opinion. But he got like 10,000 of the premium currency, which is like $400 worth, and he had to start hiding it. Like he had to start putting his logo over it because when he was playing, when the video was playing, like he had his videos and it showed like 10,000 or whatever. Everyone was like, "Why the fuck would I care about what you think? You can just speed your way through everything. You can just speed up all the, it's one of those like city building kind of things, like wait an hour for this to go off or whatever." And he's like, "You can just speed your way through it. Why the fuck would I take your advice?" And so he had to hide it because people were just, and that's true, and that's something that will happen with no matter where you are, no matter what game you're playing, no matter what you try to do. There will be people who don't like what you're doing. There will be people who think J Gray BKK's videos are cringe as fuck, but it doesn't matter. Some people love them, so it's like, who cares if you don't like something? No one cares if you don't like something. Shut your fucking mouth and move on. Don't watch the next video.
I have one guy on Reddit who changed his name to I'm top 25, listen to me, or some shit like that, just to troll me, and I'm like, God, fuck you, man. Like, fuck you. Like, do you understand how much I play this game? Like, please, just fuck you.
You're never going to make content that appeals to everyone.
Exactly.
There's always going to be a group of people out there that are just going to hate you and hate your content for whatever reason. And I mean, you just, at the end of the day, you have to realize you're making content for the people who enjoy your content, and everybody else can just go fuck off, and it really doesn't matter what I think.
Exactly, man.
I mean, I'm not going to stop making content any more than the rest of us are going to stop streaming whenever we decide that, whenever we want to do that, maybe. But I mean, yeah, for at least a day, it was rough, and it made me like, it reminded me, like's been said in the chat about the level 5 Robo Bebe fiasco. It was that all over again, and that I only got her at level 4, so I didn't get her to the extent that other people did. And that's even what got Average got to even stop making content for this game altogether, was just because of that, all the how upset everybody got from that incident. And Redlinks had learned from that incident by only giving us one card if we're gonna try a new card out to make content with, so we
Then
can
you
only
have to
them
do it in friendly
battles.
fight, yeah.
But like a level
Yeah.
5 Robo Bebe, yeah, we can easily go into freaking ladder and play with when common cards still ruled the day
Mhm.
back then. I mean, now you go in with a level 5 common card, and most legendary arenas, you're going to get the floor's going to get wiped with you. But back then, it was still viable. So and it was understandable, the gripe that people gave, even though yes, the card was taken away. But I mean, they gave us materials and stuff to upgrade her. So I mean, realistically, we could have dumped all that sci-fi materials into all our other sci-fi cards, and we could have leveled them all up, and they would have never known. I mean, they can't go back in time and say, hey, all of a sudden your Cyborg Kenny was level 2 yesterday, now he's level 5. What the heck's up with that? It's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, Scorpion.
ended up
Hold on one second.
happening.
Scorpion. They're talking about when some content creators got Robo Bebes just given to them to make content with it. How long was it before? Just like a day or two.
Yeah, it was like a couple of days leading up to
Yeah,
her
Yeah.
release.
And
Yeah.
since she was very strong and very very good and like
And some of us got her at level 5.
ridiculously OP when
Yeah.
she came
Yeah.
out.
yeah,
like,
so it kind
beyond
of caused an
best
issue
part.
because they became their decks got way better because Red Links because they were streamers or YouTubers or whatever, their decks got better for that amount of time, which people
I
didn't.
mean, the main reason was
like.
because they didn't live stream
No,
it.
that's
They didn't
not why.
live stream her for
Back
the
with it,
event. So
yeah.
they wanted to give it to us so we could showcase the card, so then people could see if it was worth their time and effort to
Right.
get that card through whatnot. Where with Witch Garrison and with other cards that they've given us access to that, it was primarily because for the same reason, but they kind of learned from that mistake by giving us all the materials, giving us all the gold, and giving us all the cards to get them to that level. Let's just give them one, nothing else, and then they can only play them at friendlies and PvE. But I
Right.
mean, a level 1 card in PvE, depending on what level you play, isn't going to help you
Only
anywhere. So you're only
Gizmo.
going to play 'em at
Only
friendly
Gizmo is
battles.
good at level
Yeah,
1.
there you go. So then all you're going to do is just play it in, in some friendly battles, and most people want to see it in ladder. But I mean, they're not going to make that mistake again, you would hope, by giving us a level, 5 Witch Garrison to go play on ladder play and see if it's even worth the time and effort.
Right. Yeah.
Average guy still plays the game. Like he doesn't play it a lot. He doesn't stream it, but I know he does still play the game.
Yeah,
he
and
I
just
saw
like
him on the
OMP still
leaderboard.
plays it, but he just doesn't make content for it anymore.
Right. Yeah, I saw Average on the leaderboard of the last challenge. So I mean, I know he still plays. He just doesn't make content.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the people who did make content, I don't think any of them stopped playing the game completely, because it's just honestly it's just too good of a game as far as like the actual
It's a fun
battles
game,
go.
man.
It's fun,
Yeah,
man. It's fun.
Game. It's really well put together. It really is.
I just don't take it seriously, and I enjoy it. I
Yep.
get a PvP pack every now and then. I just love South Park. It's a good representation of South Park in my opinion. It's got some quality aspects to it. And the humor is there. I mean,
And now that we're all
it's
so engaged into it that it's honestly just fun to see where it goes. See what cards come out, see what challenge
Yeah.
modes are, see if they
Plus
change
plus they
different
even
events or something.
changed the dialogues based on episodes. I mean,
Right.
you changed Sharon and
Yeah.
Tally's dialogue based on recent episodes that have come out. So I mean, the fact that they try to
It's
even
cool.
energize
Vape
a
on
little bit
this,
of
bitch.
Vape on
of
this,
extra
bitch.
of extra kind of
And
fresh
once you
perspective into the
honestly,
game.
once you get like epics to level 4 and your legendaries to level 3, unless you're going to be dropping huge amounts of money, at that point you're there. You've hit that
Right.
plateau and you just coast and you enjoy the game as long as it's
Then it's
enjoyable.
then it's just, can I get better at playing these
Yeah.
cards?
And you just have to realize that you're not going to be top 25, top 50, whatever. Like you're just not, and there's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, the reward those guys are getting is not worth the amount of time and the amount of money that you would have to spend in order to share in it. Like it's just not.
Right.
Like, so don't
don't
sweat it.
I will say, as one of those top 25 players, it's really fun being up there and playing against the other top 25 players.
Sure. Yeah.
And I should say like top 100 players, because I still lose to top 100 players pretty regularly.
Yeah.
But even sub 500 players, I'll lose to occasionally. But
Yeah. Every now and then
it
I'll
is
meet
really
a top
fun
50
playing with
person.
the highest level cards. The meta is way different than it is lower and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And I feel like you really get a grasp on where the meta is, and because even if you have like that much money invested in it, it does not mean you're going to be like top 25, because there are people who have not spent that much money that can still pull like top 100 and still beat me and stuff like that.
Right.
Because you sit there and you to be like top 25, to be top 50, top 100, it's not just about investing money. It's about really understanding the core concepts of the game and really understanding how the cards work and how holding energy and like sitting at 10 energy can be beneficial, even though you're not like blowing energy and things like that, and just understanding like positive trades and things like that. So
right, I mean, up at that level, it gets to a point where you use your new kid blast to give up a push, and then use the energy you save to make a push that he can't stop that will take 2 bars.
Exactly.
And you're also
I'll sit on 10 energy just so I can wait till they take my bar, and then I'll be able to do a counter push.
Right, because half the time they're like, oh, I'm going to put an extra card out to try to take the bar when he defends, and he just wastes the energy.
Yep.
And then also when you're playing people like Roxo and David and stuff, you're going to see cards that you're not going to see anywhere else. You know, like you said, the level 6 Dougie, you know, if they have the cards to level 6 and stuff, the rares, you're going to see cards that you don't see elsewhere because nobody has them at that level, and they don't become good until that level.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So it probably is definitely a blast. I mean, I have a blast when I'm, you know, winning a game with 5 seconds left.
You don't have to have level 5 epics and level 4 legendaries to be able to play and compete with those guys. Like I said, I can beat guys. I've got like top 38 people. I think it's about the highest that I've beaten that I can think of recently.
Yeah, before the swap, I used to beat Shane every once in a while. I can't beat him anymore. Yeah. But before the legend swap, he was, you know, he wasn't like number 1 or 2. He was more like top 10. But I could beat Shane.
It's difficult to win, but if you catch them at the right moment and you can get value out of your cards,
if your hook hand hits every single shot.
Oh my god.
You can overcome card level in this game, which is something unique, I think, to this game, because a lot of games, I mean, it's
a stat grind in other games, where in this one you can really outplay people.
Yeah, you can, definitely.
Yeah, that's why I like it a lot, because not only is it like, oh, I spent more time than you, or I spent more money than you, it's definitely like, I outplayed you there, homie.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
Yeah, I mean, even when I do like the deranking during events, every now and then I'll get lazy and I'll against somebody who has lower level cards than me, and they just flat out just outplay me because I got lazy, and you know, and they get me, and I'm like, well, good game. Well, you know, you got me. Like,
I find myself doing that when I'm switching between my Silver Shield and Legend account. I'll play a Legend game. Oh shit, SDNW disappeared. I'll play a Legend game like I'm in Silver Shield, and I'll just get fucking wrecked because I'm just like laying cards out willy-nilly.
Yep.
All right, do you guys have anything more to say about the big ticket challenge? We talked a bit about it early, but I mean, it was basically just anything they do where it's extra energy, it's just gonna be Hermes and Mystic and energy staff, and it's just kind of annoying. I don't know why didn't they just add 2 to everybody and just have normal regen? Would have been way more interesting. Would have been slow, but
I don't think that would have really changed the meta that much, though.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Adding double health.
Well, the health, you could have done that without the energy.
Mm-hmm.
No, I feel like you needed the energy. It would have been. I think the point of the challenge was to get everyone to play tanks. If you were smart about it, like, that was the point of the challenge. You were supposed to play the high cost, big fucking health cards, and that's why my normal legends, my normal PvP ladder deck, just with Maxi subbed in, was able to go like 12-1.
Nice.
Yeah. And I was only level 3 Maxi. Like, it was specifically for people who play tanks, and they wanted you to play tanks. That was the point of it. If you didn't play tanks, if you were playing assassins in that challenge, I think you were wrong. Like, it just, yeah.
I just want to see if I still want to see if which Garrison's going to end up being a good card in next week's challenge. Because if it is, then I think
I'm curious. Yeah.
I'm scared to now know that answer.
We might have a trend.
Has there been one with like a constant Hanky buff, like all charges are faster? That'd be fun as fuck.
Not that I recall.
That'd be the best challenge ever.
The Stand of Many Moons.
The Stand of Many Moons challenge, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you put Hanky out, and it makes it even faster. Just like the energy makes it even faster. All right, I think that kind of ends our talk about South Park Phone Destroyer. I think we hit on everything. We'll obviously move back to it when we move to the questions. But let's talk a little bit about Tegridy Farms. Did you guys bring your Tegridy?
Guys.
It was my favorite of the 4 new episodes we've had so far.
I think I agree with you.
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
They had a lot of great moments, and bringing Tally back obviously is
yes. I don't know why I was so surprised when Tally showed up in that episode. I mean, when Randy's basically a weed farmer, and then the fact that you're like, it's like the inspector's going to show up, and then it's Tally.
Like, of course it's Tally. Of course,
I was like, oh sweet, Tally's back, because I mean, Tally's just not featured. Like, some of the Tally featured episodes have been some of the best episodes in South Park history, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
And like, I mean, Crippled Summer was fantastic, and you had like even a Million Little Fibers had its moments. And then you have like just Tally just kind of show up, and then of course they, like I said earlier, they changed the dialogue, mildly changes dialogue in game, was just really cool. And I mean, as a whole, the episode wasn't phenomenally fantastic, I don't think, just in my opinion, but that out of the 4 that they've come up with, I mean, I don't really like the fact that South Park has now gone to this. We're gonna have these running jokes go seasons to seasons. Like the lore joke with Randy was kind of funny, but outside of that, some of the running jokes that they've done the last couple of seasons to me haven't been super ideal. I mean, the fact that PC Principal didn't even show up to the 3rd episode, and then you had because that was a big segue in the last season was him and Strong Woman, and then they didn't show up to the 3rd episode, and then you had then like where's Garrison been at? Like, where's President Garrison been?
Right.
He was like a whole giant focus of last season, and he hasn't even come back yet. So I mean, it's just I didn't like the school the school shooting thing touched on a lot of points. I wasn't a huge fan of that episode. And then that's been a running joke that every time they showcase to, I don't know if it's necessarily a joke, but every time they go to South Park Elementary, the school shooting thing is still happening. Yeah. So I mean, it's like, is that going to continue now going forward? That every time they cut over to South Park Elementary, there's going to be gunfire constantly.
Yeah. Then, I kind of hope so. I like how grating it is and how much of an actual point it makes.
Yeah,
I agree.
And Matt and Trey always cross that. They find the line and they go way beyond it, and that's just been that's what the show's been built around. It's just crossing the line, and just the fact that they make adequate points about certain things that all of us agree on, and they just find a unique way to display it within the show, within the characters that they've developed over the last 22 seasons, which has been, it's just insane to me that a show has lasted that's been this vulgar, and this, like, most people have just stated that this show is so terrible. And then yet you've had, Family Guy has come from the, South Park to some degree, and other shows have just kind of stemmed out from how South Park has been around for so long.
Well, then you see the other shows though, like you see Family Guy, you see like the later seasons of Futurama, even Simpsons. Now the quality got way worse in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinion. But South Park, I mean, sure, there's some hit and miss seasons for certain people. Like I know SDNW, you didn't like season 20, 21 or 20.
I rewatched season 20 actually just like this last week, and I gotta say it was still actually pretty good. So
okay, well there you go. But I think one of the beautiful things that South Park has always done is they have this ability to be poignant to like to the current news cycle sort of, but then also you could watch it 5 years later and it would still be a good episode, and you wouldn't have had to have gone through that to really get the episode. Because like the school shooting episode, you don't have to be an American that has been involved in one or know somebody who's one. You don't have to even be, in 10 years, maybe school shootings don't exist, and it would still be a good fucking episode. And this one, it's kind of talking about like the Vape Nation bullshit, but it's like this would stand up 20 years from now easily because it's fucking great. And they have that ability to be topical and yet do it in a way that it still stands up, and it's not like, oh, I can't watch this anymore because it doesn't make sense or whatever.
Well, to me, it's just not overly preachy. They hit their points, and they really do a good job of driving home the points, because they like to prove their points by taking things to like absurd levels. And like really when you take something to an absurd level, that's when you can really highlight the actual absurdity of whatever it is you're showing, right? Because like sometimes it's easy for people to just kind of sweep things under the rug and minimize things, but when you like draw it out to like this hyper sensationalized, I guess, a way, it just really like makes it to where it's like, okay, it's really in your face now and you can't really ignore it.
SDNW.
No politics in chat, please.
No politics in chat.
Don't get my ass started. Don't get me started. We had to make a separate. We had to make a separate elders chat in NAMBLA for politics,
Which I'm so glad I'm a part of now.
just to avoid having us, me and one of the other elders go off on each other.
Oh man, but yeah, there was so many good moments in this episode when Tally Tally was the cape and he comes during the fight and just kicks ass. That was just classic. And then when Tally when Tally pulls out that machine and he's gonna test the bud, and you think it's gonna be this whole process, and all it is vaping the bud.
Yeah.
That's some good shit. Oh, that's some good. And when he did like the whatever
the
Tegridy jungle,
and he's
bud.
like, he's just like, whoa.
I don't know what Tegridy is, but that's some good shit.
Just a hilarious fucking episode.
I really wish they had like released like a neutral version of Randy, like Tegridy Randy or something.
I agree. I said that. I think that we need a neutral Tegridy Randy, and as long as he's on the field, his ability is that Two Princes by
is playing in the back.
Spin Doctors plays the whole time. That'd be so cool. I would die every time. I love that song, and when they play that,
you play it and you just laugh until he's dead.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, I would die every time that happened. That'd just be too good.
I feel like they kind of like replayed that though, because wasn't there another one like where like yeah, it was like when PC Principal was falling in love with Strong Woman.
Yeah, it was Hootie and the Blowfish playing.
So I feel like they kind of like just like repeated that with this.
Well,
I mean, it was still funny though. It was funny as hell.
Yeah. If you watch South Park and you like, I mean, I watch South Park probably more than, I'm probably up there in people who watch South Park in the world. Like I've seen every episode now probably over 20 times a piece. And they repeat a lot of, I feel like a lot of their ideas are repeats of their older things. Like they'll watch their old episodes and like take concepts from it. And it may be that I'm a little buzzed right now and I can't like come up with a really good example of it, but it happens really regularly.
But the Maxi episode, I mean, they even talk about the, Red Hot Catholic Love or whatever that episode was back in season like 6 or 7. I don't even remember now. But like the fact that he talked about that he went to the Vatican, he tried before to stop.
I've tried it before,
and it didn't work. So I mean, like they, kind of segued slightly into the fact that they've discussed this topic before, and that was what a lot of people said that I noticed when they talked about that episode was like, this is an outdated issue of that priests are having sex with little boys. Like this has just been an outdated issue in the Catholic Church that we've all known about for the last decade plus or more, and the fact that they're bringing it up now just seemed irrelevant based on like other episodes that they now talked about seem to be more relevant based on current things that are going on, more to the current events, especially with vaping, and then you've got with the whole school shootings incident.
Not necessarily, because there've been a couple of Catholic priests just recently in the news. That,
I think that was more their way of saying like, hey guys, this is still fucking happening.
It's still going on. We've known about this for a dozen years, and priests are still molesting children.
and the rise that got out of Bill Donahue was the greatest thing that could have ever happened. Like Bill Donahue going off, it's the homosexual. They're homosexuals, not child molesters.
Oh, they're totally doing it. It's just for different reasons.
yeah. It was so that.
I really still wish.
I
really still fucking wish Butters would have molested Maxi in that episode.
I know. That's what I wanted to.
That would have been primo fucking television.
It would have.
He puts his little gloved hand over his lips. Oh man,
but the Comboni was too
Oh, yeah.
funny.
I wish,
Yeah, no,
man,
I still
Too
wanted a
funny.
Comboni card.
So funny.
his enrage should have been he jumped on the Comboni and he got double damage or something.
Mowed over everybody with it.
Oh man, that was too good. That was.
Yeah.
That,
And
that's
the
what
man,
made
they
the
got
episode-
they got legit with that gore on that. Like,
Yes.
They always do. They always go like way overboard on the gore.
like
And,
the fucking forest pals, or whatever. God, what are they called again?
Woodland Critter Christmas.
The Christmas critters when
Christmas
the
critters.
little Santa gets or the little demon gets born.
Yeah. When I was watching recently the one where Ike and his teacher hook up, the Miss Teacher
Bane's boy.
Yeah, the dog the bounty hunter episode. She jumps off the roof and like she lands on the ground. She just like splats. There's like blood and gore everywhere. It's like holy fuck. Or when
Debatably, I think that's the best season they've ever made. Just
that's
the
a
quality
really
of
good
episodes.
one. Yes,
It's a solid season.
Yep. Or when
I also-
Butters kills himself or Fake kills himself for the margarine episode.
For margarine.
Yeah.
The pig.
just
This is just a
splats
pig just
everywhere.
splatters everywhere.
The mom's like, "Ah!" It's so good. It's so good. Just the over the top cartoon gore. It's different if it's different if it's real life. It's just it's so much funnier when it's in cartoon form.
Yeah.
In real life, that gore is like holy fuck, but in South Park, it's just like this is nice.
So the other part that I really liked from the Tegridy Farms episode was the PC babies. Like that shit was just like hilarious.
Oh man.
We
I
should have
loved-
gotten
I
pink
loved-
glasses.
I
We
loved
should have
the
gotten
part-
pink glasses in the game. When's that coming out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
really.
love the part
I agree.
in the grocery store where like somebody came up and like said something like completely innocuous and the babies like started crying and then they're like, why are the what did I say? Why are the PC babies crying? And they're like, sometimes PC babies just cry and they don't know what they're crying about. I'm just like, oh my god. I love it, man.
And I always loved it. I think my favorite part about the PC babies is like everybody knows they're PC babies just by
Yeah.
looking
What
at
are
them.
these PC babies?
Like yeah, the doctor comes in and his thing's open and it's got Speedy Gonzalez and the babies start crying. He's like, "Oh, are these PC babies?" And he covers it. These are PC babies.
I'm not gonna lie. I went to work at the diner that I helped. Like right after that episode, and I got to work, and my boss, or my boss, he's like family friend. Anyways, he was like going on about Speedy Gonzalez, and all I could think of was the South Park thing, because he's really like low key belligerent, like racist kind of right wing dude, and he was going on about Speedy Gonzalez, and because they'd recently hired a Mexican woman who had who had started at the diner and was helping out, and he was like all kinds of like terrible jokes. But I was just like, Loki was like, damn, dude, like you need to watch the South Park episode. You'd love that.
For sure. All right, you guys got anything else to say about this episodes or anything else like that? Otherwise, we'll move on to questions here.
No, they've
Oh,
been
good.
pretty good so far. I've enjoyed the season. I really kind of want them to get back, like follow up on some of the Canada stuff. Like the end of the last season, we fucking
I know.
nuked Canada, and so
They
far
They
there's
nuked
been very
Canada.
little.
No one cares.
There's been very little mention of the fact that we nuked Canada. So I'm kind of curious to see, like, are they going to actually follow up on that storyline this season? Or are we going to see more of President Garrison?
Right. They have
Like,
quite a few like stories that they could follow that they have opened up in the past. That I mean, I could see not following through on the Garrison one, at least not for a while. But
I think they're going to have to at least address it at some point. But I am kind of happy that they have at least like given some different content that's just not a continuation of the last storyline. So it's provided a nice break. But I think eventually they're going to have to get back and start to resolve some of that stuff. I mean, you can't just nuke Canada at the end of a season and then just pretend like it never happened for like the rest of
Yeah.
the show.
I mean, they gave PC Principal and Strong Woman like straight up gave them babies. Like,
Yeah.
Well, plus
They
they went
addressed
from
that.
having sex last season to she's like 9 months pregnant. 3
Yeah.
episodes into the next season. Like how
Well, it
much
was
time
weird,
had
but you
transpired?
no,
But
it was
years
the
gone by.
first
Years gone
episode.
by.
Wasn't she not super pregnant? And then like
However,
later,
they're all still in 4th grade. Remember that.
yeah, they're also fun.
Yeah,
And
that
later on,
too.
that out of nowhere, they're at the assembly, and she's like, her water breaks, which is just like,
Yeah.
what happened? Where'd it go?
I think when they finally end
those
up ending
babies
the
come
show,
quick.
they're gonna make them go to 5th grade, and then the show's gonna end. Like it's their first day of 5th
Yeah.
grade. They'll like walk in the door, and then like it's just gonna Sopranos.
Didn't they
ending,
do
and
one
it's just gonna go to
season?
black screen, and that'll be the end of South Park as we know it.
Didn't they do a
finally
season
go
where
to
they
5th
were
grade.
talking about going to 5th grade or something? That was like, it was instead of cancel South Park, it was like the boys go to 5th grade or something like that. I swore it was like maybe like 10
No,
or
I don't
something.
remember that.
God,
It
what
may
was it? Maybe that
have.
was just a marketing thing.
Well,
I
maybe, 'cause
vaguely remember
know,
that.
like when they
They
did the
did that with
Asperger's
Simpsons.
episodes and all that stuff, like that was like because they had where like Stan's family was going to move out of South Park completely and like
Oh yeah,
leave.
yeah, yeah.
Like that was
Yeah.
allegedly because they were trying to get the show ended. Then like Matt and Trey wanted out of their contract; they
Yep.
didn't want to do it anymore. And then of course
They don't
ended
want
up
to do the
pushing
show
it.
anymore.
And they've
But
got
we'll let
gone what 6 or 7 seasons since then.
They
So, I
want to
mean, it's
work
not
on
like
the
show
mobile
ended.
game.
Apparently, if you're an iOS user and you saw that article, then yeah, they definitely want to keep working on this mobile game and make money off of it.
Wait, what did I miss? What was this article?
Allegedly, on iOS, there was like in the what do you call it?
Tegridy.
In the game, damn it, like in the App Store, like
Sure.
sometimes they'll show articles for like stuff that's going on relative to games within the App Store, and one was one directed towards South Park Phone Destroyer and talked about Matt and Trey's involvement within the development of the game, like that they had. I mean, granted, they did an episode, Freemium Isn't Free, which is basically the concept of this freaking game, but
Yes.
the fact that they had talked about that they had processed this like years before it came into development, that this was something they wanted to do, where they did a card-based mobile game and they did all the things that this game ended up being, but it didn't go into like elaborate detail as far as like everything that they wanted to do with the game, but just that they had come up with the basic concept ideas of this game that have now obviously come to fruition and we all play it. So that was at least mentioned, because some people were like, did Matt and Trey, like, because they're associated with it, because it says, because they have to use the likeness of the characters and whatnot
Right.
within the game structure, so they have to have some kind of obviously the some kind of leeway with it. But the fact that allegedly both of them had come up with the base premise of this game a long time ago, and then now it's obviously here.
Nice.
I wonder if they didn't have really the concept and then they started seeing some other, like they had the idea, but then some other games came out and like, oh, Clash Royale, we could kind of do it like that, or games like that.
Yeah.
I wonder if
I
that's
wonder
how
that
that
is
happened.
Definitely the biggest parallel.
I wonder that too, Smoke Out. Like, I'm really curious if Matt and Trey have actually played the game, or if they do.
I bet
play
they're
the
here
game
right now. What up, Matt and Trey?
Matt and Trey.
What's up, guys? I love basketball.
I do LSD because of you at the Oscars or the Grammys or whatever the fuck that was. I just remember your dress. It was beautiful. You were ravishing.
the Jennifer Lopez dress.
I know South Park Studios does have a lot of control over the game, though, like, and that's why you're not going to see stuff change like so quick in regards to new themes and new voice
Or
acting
PvE
and
and
stuff
stuff.
like that, and PvE, because all that stuff is like tightly controlled by South Park Studios. The level design, the
really want that
everything.
superhero theme.
Well, plus there's going to be a lot of characters. Like, I think anything that's affiliated with an actual celebrity will never come into this game. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
for
Chef
sure.
will never come
Yeah.
into this game either, just with the breakup.
People want
that
gay
was
fish. It's not going to
with
happen.
Isaac Hayes and everything towards South Park in general. Like, as much as a lot of fans of South Park would love to see a chef card, I would love to see a chef card. Don't get me wrong. It'll never happen.
Dude,
Like,
he'd
that
be
will
range
never
throwing
happen.
his chocolate salty balls at you.
I know, right? I mean, there's so many
Range
great
tank.
things that you could think of with Chef being a card, and he was so instrumental for so long within the show. What, 10 seasons, 11 seasons before they killed him off viciously in the Return of Chef episode. But it's like the fact that there was such negative energy between Matt and Trey and Isaac Hayes. Like, it'll never be a card. Like,
however, in the South Park pinball game, I don't know if I ever played that. The South Park pinball game, they used Chef's voice for a bunch of things, but
well, I mean, fuck, the first South Park game was Chef's Love Shack.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this was well after Chef had been killed off in the show. So.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So
Darth Vader Chef.
There is hope.
Yeah,
maybe
Darth Vader Chef would be awesome.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to use Chef because they.
I mean, they still own the rights.
They turn him into a fucking Nazi zombie and Stick of Truth, like straight up.
Oh,
They made
yeah.
him into a Nazi.
Yeah, I mean, they still own the rights to all the stuff that he's done. Like,
Yeah,
they can still use all that shit.
all
just
all
can't
his
get him.
voice would have to be is "Hello, children."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
Every time. I don't want anything else. I want that to be all he says.
Hello, children. Yeah,
Plus, I'm sure you could
exactly.
find a voice actor that could nail
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
his voice.
You wouldn't
Oh,
even
yeah.
have to.
Relatively
There
easy.
have been so
They
many
wouldn't do
many
it.
clips that you could use that
Yeah.
would work.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, guys. Let's move on to the questions. If you're watching this on YouTube, the questions will be in another video. I'll pop them up over SDNW's face because fuck him. It's actually analytics. It's better to be in the top left corner. It just happened to be you this time, SDNW.
God damn, man, God